Hello and welcome to yourlocalnote.com. Hey, this is a good night. We're starting on time. We've been late a few times. We're starting on time, so we're pretty happy. My name's RJ, and Mike is hanging out, making sure we're sounding and looking good as we are streaming live. Tonight's band is the Greene Hill Project. We're going to be talking with them. We've got Erik, Ted, and Federico in to talk about their music and their album, Twilight's Glimmer. That's coming up in just a couple minutes. But just want to remind you, we're streaming 24/7. That's right. You can hear the best of Philadelphia music, and it's only bands from the Philadelphia area that we play, and we do it 24/7. We got a free app. Just go to the respective stores, type in YLN, and download it for free, and you can take yourlocalnote.com with you anywhere you go. Right now, we're going to play the song off the album Twilight's Glimmer from the Greene Hill Project. It's called Gone. Play that, and then we'll come back and we'll talk to them and get to know them right here on yourlocalnote.com. song is called Gone. It's from the album Twilight's Glimmer, and the band is Greene Hill Project, and they are with us for tonight's Vidcast. Guys, welcome to yourlocalnote.com.
How's it going?
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Appreciate you joining us on a very, very cold evening. Real quickly, why don't you introduce yourselves and what you do with the band?
I'm Ted, and I am the lead vocalist.
I'm Federico. I am the bass player and whatever else they need me for.
We throw lots of jobs out. Yeah. I'm Erik, and play guitar and songwriter.
Okay, excellent. Let's go to the song first, and then we'll talk about how the band got together. So, Erik, since you're the main songwriter, tell us a little bit about Gone.
Gone was a song that I had sitting around for a little while. Used to be B-riff, right, for the longest time. Always liked the song guitar-wise. And then when we were putting the album together, trying to figure out sequence for the album, we were thinking we needed another kind of rocker song to put in there because we were trying to. Yes. Yeah. So I forced myself to really sit down and write out the lyrics for it, and then thinking about my history with knowing Ted for a long time and our other lead guitarist, Mike Rauscher, and the song kind of came out of a living situation that Ted had with
Mexico.
Yeah, a place called Mexico. We used to like some decadent nights there.
Top floor apartment, real small place. Got hot as hell in the summertime. But very cool, very chill. Lots of cool people coming through in and out. And
so you called it Mexico.
Really good time. We call it Mexico. We had Christmas lights strung around the place, 24/7, 365. It was just a chill place.
Very festive place.
It reminds me of a place I lived in just out of college. A bunch of us had graduated, and we found an apartment above a laundromat. So during the summer, it was just brutal. And we derisively called it the Pleasure Palace. But it was a dump. I mean, it was really, women would come in and be like, yeah, we got to go. And we'd be like, yes, the apartment, it's not us. Okay, so you guys have known each other for a while. Then just give us a little history of the band and how you got to the Greene Hill Project. How'd you come up with that name?
It started under a coffee table.
Okay.
No, he was under a coffee table. Ted and I knew each other for a while. I had been playing guitar and started dabbling with the idea of, I played in bands, like cover bands, started working on the idea of writing some original songs, met up with Ted, and we started collaborating, and we did an acoustic called Waiting for Ted, due to Ted's difficulty with time.
Okay.
He's actually flipped now. Now he's the late one.
Yeah.
Kind of a nice...
Waiting for Ted. I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
So we had done that for a while. We played out. We were playing regular gigs, Lehigh Valley area.
Just the two of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just acoustic sets, open mics, and a couple of... features where we would kind of take the night and play some originals, a couple of covers here and there.
A lot of originals.
Yeah, it was fun though. It was a great time, and I didn't even know I was a singer until I started hanging out with him. He was playing guitar and just started making stuff up. And hey, not bad.
Okay.
It just kind of went from there, and it was just fun.
Yeah.
We were having a good time with it.
How long has the band been together then?
Well, that kind of fell apart after a while. We all had things going on in our lives, and so we took a break from that. I was kind of still playing a little bit here and there, but focusing on other things. Then got back into writing maybe about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And that's when I originally kind of thought I was just going to do like a solo project. I had set up a studio, and that was my original intention. I was writing a lot of material, so I thought, I'm just going to do this on my own. And then, Ted and I still had friendship going on, so we would talk about things, and then he'd say, so what are you working on? I've got a couple songs here, play him a couple demos, and next thing you know, he's singing them, and I'm going...
Well, I heard him sing it. He would put his vocals on.
Yeah, and you'd say, like, no.
Hey, wait a second. Let me fix that up for you.
Get something going with that. You need some better vocals there. So, yeah, I just liked the stuff, and it felt good, so we just... kept it rolling.
Yeah, and Fetty, we knew him through work, right? And then we wound up just kind of like jamming sometimes.
Yeah, well, the situation is I was in a cover band as a lead guitarist.
Okay.
I was in high demand.
Okay.
And he asked me if he'd come along, and I said, yeah, I can work that in. And That's how I joined the band.
But
Yeah.
I was a latecomer for sure.
but you're now the bass player.
I'm now playing bass.
How difficult is that to switch from guitar to now being the bass player?
It's a funny thing. I have this, the first bass I bought, I think it's called a micro bass. It kind of looks like a kid's toy almost.
But you're a little guy, though, so it's perfect.
It's perfect for my hand.
There's nothing wrong with short guys.
Absolutely not. I
got you back.
Thank you. And it was just really super easy to play. It was like playing a regular guitar, but with bass strings.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it works out nicely as a guitar player too. So, depending on what we want to do, if we don't have everybody together, we want to do something like a unplugged thing.
Acoustic, yeah.
And say, hey, Federico,
Works out
play
really
acoustic.
nice.
Okay. Very, very cool. And then Mike, when did Mike join the band?
Well, we've known him for a long time. He used to sit in with us.
Mike was my roommate in Mexico.
Okay.
Or I was his roommate. That was his place first.
Mexico, okay.
And he is just a fantastic lead guitarist, and he's been kind of working with us with the different projects that we've been working on, for the past 10.
Yeah, he's like our go-to guy.
Something like that. So
Okay.
yeah, and he likes the music, so he kind of sits in and plays with us whenever he can.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it's good times.
Yeah.
So did it take a while for you to develop what style of music you wanted to write about or write?
I don't think style-wise. I think I've always kind of written the same type of music, just whatever comes naturally.
Okay.
But I think with Greene Hill Project, the evolution from what we used to do was just kind of getting into textural and layers and that sort of thing. When I started getting into the studio and recording, I really started to explore a lot more. And,
Okay.
And just kind of really develop the sound, kind of what I always wanted to do anyhow. Because of, we were just doing this 2-person duo thing, it just wasn't there. Plus, I think I learned a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Went through a big learning curve and really started focusing on my playing. So the sound just kind of naturally evolved. And I
Okay.
think we have that kind of thread through the album, I think, is a sound of, the guitars.
I think we definitely have found a sound and come into this sound and also sitting down and doing production and, really being able to be meticulous about it ourselves rather than having someone else doing that. It's kind of given us a lot of leeway to experiment and do some different things with the layering and the
So you have your own
soundscapes and
studio.
everything.
Yeah.
Well, it's it's kind of like home studios,
Sure.
his house, home studio at my house.
Okay.
We do the recording at his studio, and then I usually bring it home at my. I've got a workstation.
And you mix it.
Do the mixing and whatever else I need to do. So it's,
Yeah.
Now, in the songwriting process, are you also writing the music with it, or is it just first the lyrics, or is it the whole entire song comes from you?
Well, I started by doing everything when I was recording everything. So I just did originally before Feddy got aboard. I was doing the bass parts, and I do the guitar parts. Then wound up doing some keyboard things if it needed it, and we did some bass drum tracking because we didn't have a drummer. And then we wound up having a drummer for a period of time when we really started getting going with it. Fell to the wayside, and which we weren't sure how we were going to handle that when we were doing the recording process, because we could sequence some of the drums, which for some tracks was okay, but
Others
it's
it
completely
just left
different than
flaps.
we were rehearsing and playing with a drummer live, and then we kind of had the setback, but we had Kevin Cifera step in for us, which was fantastic.
During the recording?
Yeah.
we took the studio drum sessions and just ran with it, and it came out.
Yeah, he really liked the material, so we wound up using him for the whole album, and actually starting to work on our next album. And he's sitting in playing drums again. So
Okay.
Kevin's a fantastic player.
The great thing, or at least the great thing that I feel about the songwriting is it's very organic. Eric writes 99% of the music and lyrics and whatnot. But it's great because he comes up with stuff. He says, I have this idea with the vocals, and I get to come in and kind of put my flavor to it. Maybe I'll change some of the words here and there to make it fit. Some of the songs he won't have a space, so I'll write some of the words for that part.
Okay.
And then there's certain things where I can write a little bit, but it's not really, I'm not as prolific as Eric is. 'Cause I don't know, man. He's got a tap somewhere where
It says late night sessions.
So it's really nice collaboration, and it just feels.
But how difficult
comfy.
is it? How difficult is it to sing, but they're not your words? Because a lot of the singer-songwriter, a lot of the songwriters, most of the time are the singers for the band, especially the lyrics. So how difficult is it because a lot of times there's a feel to the song that you're trying to get across, and I guess it helps that you have known him so long, so you can see it that way. But still,
that's a huge boon to the feel of the music, because when he has all the words written and it's his song, he'll let me know where it came from. He'll let me know where that emotion came from, and because I've been through a lot with him as a friend, I can really kind of empathize with that emotion.
Sure.
I can really feel for him or feel with him, whatever that is.
Right.
And I can kind of put that emotion into it because I understand it.
Okay.
And if it's something I haven't been through personally, then I can kind of make it mine, because I kind of transpose it into my own personal life.
All right.
And plus, it becomes my song in the end, because when we do collaborate, I think that you like my input on the
definitely,
music.
No, definitely.
So,
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, your input's great, man.
Ted, that was great. I really like that. That's a keeper.
That's true. My ego a little bit.
If I don't say this now, he's gonna leave. He'll never come back, and then I'm gonna have to sing. It's gonna suck.
Very nice. Okay, let's go to song number 2 that we're playing tonight, and we'll play it, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about it, and we'll talk more about the band, how you got the name Greene Hill Project, and then we'll get into the recording process too. You're hanging with us on yourlocalnote.com. We're hanging with Greene Hill Project. The song is called Descending, and it's from the album Twilight's Glimmer. Yourlocalnote.com. band is Greene Hill Project. The song is called Descending, and it's from their album Twilight's Glimmer. This is yourlocalnote.com. All right, guys. Erik, I mean, you're the songwriter, so let's go to you first. But I heard, before while the song was going, Federico, this is something you dig. You dig this song, huh?
It's definitely one of my favorite songs.
And why is that?
I like Ted's haunting vocals. I like the
haunting
background story. Definitely in that song. I like the background story. I can relate to it. Erik can tell you about that. I like the whole production of it because this is one of the songs I heard from the very beginning, and it was really neat how one day I heard the production of it. I'm like, oh my God, that's the same song. It's amazing. But that's the neatest thing about being part of this group is most of what we did, most of what they did, really, I learned acoustically, and then next thing you know, it's like a full sound. It's just amazing. Very talented.
Okay. All right, Erik, then give us the background story on this. That Federico did a great job of teasing. Yeah. Good job.
This was one song that I had come up with based on somebody that I knew, a girl that young, but she unfortunately she had lost her mom, and I met her mom a few times and didn't realize what was going on with her. She got sick real fast and passed away, and this girl was she was left. She didn't have any other family.
Oh wow.
So I don't know how old she was, probably a 13, 14-year-old girl. It's just a really difficult situation. Yeah. So in my head, I had this storyline that if the mom could have another conversation with her, if she could come back and just have one more conversation with her, just to kind of reassure her that everything would be okay.
Right.
That was kind of the theme, the idea that I was going with on that.
Cool.
And then I was trying to build, this soundscape around that song too, and then Ted's haunting vocals.
I remember the day that you pitched this song to me. You played me the riff, and you had kind of loose vocals put together for it, and then he told me that story,
right?
And it just it really got me, and I kind of added a couple of lines in to kind of put it together, and it wasn't difficult at all because I could completely hear the story for what it was, and really got emotionally involved with it automatically because it was just a really compelling story. Mm-hmm. And so it was just, and we sat down that afternoon, finished getting everything written down, got all the vocals in the right spots, and kind of put it together. And then we pieced it together here and there at some at my place, some at Erik's place, and then we did a production of it, and it was a lot of heavy production. I had put a lot of synth pads in it and all this kind of stuff, and it kind of got shelved for a while. And we looked at it again when we were putting together Twilight's Glimmer. We're like, let's revisit the Descending song, and he just redid all the guitar parts, kind of cleaned it up a little bit, kept some of those synth pad layers and some of that just kind of textural feel.
Was it a lot of changes or was it just a lot of tweaking?
More tweaking, yeah, because we actually tried changing it in up tempo and really changed the song, and we didn't like it, so we kind of went back to the basic bones that it was, and kept a lot of that built up production, but just kind of cleaned it up around the edges, not so heavy. Okay. And kind of stuck a little bit more with the acoustic bass that it came from.
It was another track that I thought Kevin's drums really added
night and day between the syncopated beat that we worked off of to get the song together, and then working with a live drummer and putting it together like that.
Right.
Just made the song come alive.
Yeah.
Really cool though. That was a fun song to work on.
Yeah.
As a songwriter, do you have to experience what you're writing about, or can you just get an idea and then just say, not use personal experiences, but just write a story?
Not for me.
Okay, you have to live it.
Yeah, I mean, every track on the album has some sort of a story behind it that I've come up with. That you've experienced.
Yeah. So you need at least the experience so you can then evolve from there.
Yeah, and I try to create the lyrics so that they're vague enough, I think, in certain senses that somebody could hear it and put their own interpretation into it too. I don't want to storytell and just tell them this is exactly what it's about.
Right.
You know, so I mean, some people may gather some things, you know, out of it that are similar to my experience, but others might have a completely different take on it, which is fine.
And that's a fun part of being a songwriter, when someone comes to you and gives you a completely different version of what you intended it to be.
Right.
And then you have some people, and we had this one experience, and actually the songwriter got a little angry with me when I asked her what the song was about. She's like, "What do you mean? What is it about?" I was like, "Well, what were you writing about? What do you think it's about?" So
Cue cards. What the hell was this song about? I know I got those notes here somewhere.
she writes, and she's like, I want the people listening to have their own interpretation.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny the way it went back and forth. I thought she was getting pissed at me. I'm like, okay. We never had anyone get mad on our Vidcast, so please. Throwing stuff at me. So Greene Hill Project, where did that name come from?
Yeah.
From you?
Yeah. I had the situation where a couple of years ago, I bought this house, and it was just a lot of things going on in my life at that time, but felt it was kind of like a special place to get.
Okay.
And that's where I wound up putting together the studio.
Okay.
The house actually was owned by some people that had a silversmith studio, which was cool. It was attached to the house, separate space, so I was able to convert that into.
Nice.
On Greene Hill is where I live.
Okay.
So, and then the whole project just kind of evolved out of there.
Sure.
So it seemed appropriate that that's what I was doing. Like I said, originally it was sort of like my solo project, and then when it kind of evolved into the band idea, I just kind of stuck with it. You know.
And the rest of the band.
It's a sweet little spot, and you kind of look down over the hill, and just.
So it made sense to call yourselves the Greene Hill Project.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
It just kind of had a cool vibe to it, you know. So.
Yeah, it sounds good. Greene Hill Project definitely rolls off the tongue very easily. So we like that. You know, especially when you talk for a living, you want things as easy as possible.
Although, wait, what was the album title that you wanted to have? Not Twilight.
Crepuscular Rays.
Oh, great. Thanks. I hope you
Twilight.
You knew that, right?
It was hard. I really had. I was like, Ted, seriously?
It's another word for Twilight.
I understand that, but the rest of the world is just going to go, what the?
It was kind of.
I had to Google it to see if he was serious.
Yeah, well.
I was like, yeah, he's serious.
Thank you, because I would have been just slurring through the whole thing. Yeah.
Anyway,
Twilight's Glimmer.
Yeah. Here it is in our song. Just listen to it, guys. All right.
Thanks.
Move on.
God, I would have been looking at this. Yeah, I'll talk about that. Forget about that. That's awesome. Okay. Now you do the recording yourself. Have you had experience, or is it just one of these things you've learned as you've gone? Have
recording experience?
Yeah. Have you recorded with other bands?
When we were doing the Waiting for Ted, we went to the Swan Palace. A friend of ours, Scott Federico, who has a beautiful studio in Bethlehem, which we worked at. So that was really our only other experience, not recording ourselves.
Right.
So this was our first take at just handling it on our own. So
a lot of trial and error.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just laying some stuff down, trying to figure out the levels, working with it. Trashing it, starting over again, putting it together, trashing it, starting over again. And, little by little kind of started seeing what worked and, just kept rolling with it. And
I just have to add, on my part, it was really easy.
I'm sure we can all
wait a second.
Room with your ego.
No, because all the work was on Ted. I stay up till 2-3 o'clock in the morning. I get in my little mad scientist thing. I lay down a couple guitar tracks, bass track, whatever, and the whole thing, and I say, "Here you go, Ted," and I'm like moving on to the next thing, and he's just sort of like, "Great, thanks."
Now I've got to sift through like 23 tracks of whatever.
Nice.
It was a great night for me, but hey, for him, it's going to be a week of hell.
Some of the lead guitar pieces, it's so funny because we would get Michael in and he would just go crazy and he would just start, I would just record everything.
Okay.
There's like, no, that wasn't good. I was like, no, we'll keep it.
Yeah, we don't do the punch in thing.
Track
we just rip through it live.
Why not?
Yeah.
And it was actually really cool because we would have like, 10, 15 different lead guitar tracks, all kind of, and some of them were very much in the same flavor, some were different. So it was just this fun, process of blending it all together to make it into what it really was, and it was really cool. It was just a lot of
work.
Yeah, a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
And not for me. Right.
Were there any time where you spend hours piecing this together, and then Erik would come in and be like, no, I'm not going to.
Usually he was pretty smart about that. He was like, it sounds really good. And then a week or two later, he'd be like, hey, I was listening to that again. Do you think you could maybe take a look at this part again after I had some distance from it? But sometimes, of course, that does happen. But overall, I think he probably did that once after I spent like 10 hours straight one day, and I was just like, I can't listen to this song again.
Yeah, it was nice now with Feddy aboard too, because when I'm writing something and I want to have a bass track behind it, I'll just play something real simplistic, and then
he takes up.
Yeah,
from there.
it's nice because I can pass it on to him, and then he can come up with a nice track or two behind it, and with a little bit more flair to it.
Well, it's important that the rhythm section, gets to put their part into it, because the rhythm section can make a huge difference in a song. Yeah. So, that's the fun part about music. Every little piece that you add to it. It's like a puzzle or a recipe, and you put it together, and if you move this or that a little bit, or just try something different, it makes a huge difference. Yeah. It's the difference between something that's okay and something that's really good, and you sit there and go, yeah, okay, I got it, which is very cool.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice now. Like, we've started to record all these new tracks now. We had a lot of tracks from Twilight's Glimmer. We wound up like 18, maybe close to 18, that we had pretty well fleshed out.
Right.
And then we whittled it down to 11. 11, is that what we have?
I think so.
So you have 7 songs that you liked.
Right, that are pretty much all fleshed out and have all the parts to them. But then started brainstorming some new pieces, and then bringing Feddy into the mix, and then it's kind of a nice process now.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's fun to collaborate and get everybody's flavor.
Get Mike in there, get Kevin.
Feddy, how long have you known these guys then?
Oh, probably about 7 years?
Oh, okay.
5 years?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
7 years.
Yeah, probably.
I think about 7
Yeah, but not musically.
Musically, how long have you been working with these guys?
Oh, well, it's more recent, but I was exposed to probably about a year or 2 years after we had met, The Waiting Ones, the album he had referred to previously, and it was before I met Ted, so I had the vocals in my head, and I thought, man, this is really, really cool. I really liked it. It had a really great local flavor. And next thing you know, a few years later,
because you were playing in a band then. You were playing
in a cover band.
Yep.
So it's not difficult for you to try to interpret what Erik is trying to do with the song?
No, not at all. It's fun, learning how to play with people that have slightly different styles, because you can add something to it, and I take a lot from him.
Okay.
Definitely take a lot from Erik.
All right, very cool. All right, let's go on to song number 3, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about where people can find your music, and also where you guys are going to be playing if you're going to have a show coming up, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes. But right now, we're going to talk about, we're going to play Lost or Found, Lost or Found, and then when we come back, we'll talk about that. You're hanging with the Greene Hill Project on yourlocalnote.com. Again, the song is called Lost or Found from the album Twilight's Glimmer. song is called Lost or Found from the album Twilight's Glimmer. The band is Greene Hill Project. I'm RJ McKay, and you're hanging with us on yourlocalnote.com, and we really appreciate the fact that you are joining us. All right, Erik, let's talk about Lost or Found. What is this song about?
Lost or Found, I had sitting around for a little while. Lyrically, it was more about relationships, sometimes when they're not meant to be, and sometimes conversations are forced, and you wind up getting in these situations where you're just talking about something and it just doesn't come out the way it's meant to be. What's the main line in there? You know these words better than I do. Something upside down. You know.
Lost or found. Said all I want to say to you, and I got it upside down.
I said it upside down. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know that happens in marriage too. I can't tell you how many times I'm going, I didn't mean it that way. You know, but yeah, no.
And the idea too that sometimes you want to just have that space. You just want to take a step back and you know, kind of disappear a little bit, but not be completely lost.
Right.
So that's really what I was, trying to get across in that. Not that you have to take it that way, but that was what. For me, yeah.
My favorite line: "Wasted in the shadows like a fool for love after the fall." I always like that line.
Okay. Now, when you're writing the song, words come first, music comes first, or is it just either or?
Mix or match. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I have lots of books of lyrical ideas, I guess, and then a few things that I have just musically, guitar parts and stuff that. And then sometimes it'll all just come together.
Will you be writing and being like, we've already got the music set for this. I know exactly what songs or music that we have set aside. Does that happen often?
Yes, I mean occasionally I'll have it all kind of just pieced together. I'll have all my stuff laying around me, and I'm just sitting there and working through stuff, and then all of a sudden, once I pick up on a line or two. Usually I know where I'm going to go with it, and it'll flow out. I don't labor over tracks over a song for
you let Ted
weeks.
Do that.
Yeah. I'll just for me it's bang bang. Yep, there we go. Ted, make sense out of this. I really don't know what the hell it's all about, but if you can make some sense out of this and make it sound good.
So
no, I'm only kidding.
Lead singer and musical janitor.
That sounds about right. Thank you.
Custodian.
Custodian of sound. I like to think of myself. Custodian of sound.
Hey, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah. Custodian of sound. We want part of that, by the way.
Right. It's part of the deal.
Yeah. Do you find yourself? It sounds like to me, just in talking, that a lot of times you'll write, put it away, come back. Do you ever get to a point where you can just write a song, sit down and write it from start to finish? Does that happen often?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's both. Sometimes it's right. Let me put it away and come back to it.
A lot of times that'll happen. Like I'll sit down in an evening session, and the whole thing will just kind of all come together. And the next thing I know, I'm like, hey Ted, you gotta check this out.
When did you write this? Oh, last night.
Last night it was
2 and 5.
Or like Twilight. Okay. You have the flu, right?
He sent me Twilight in a Dropbox. And he was like, I wrote last night. I had the flu. I don't know what was it. I couldn't sleep. So I'm listening to it, and I'm hanging out with my son, and I'm listening. I'm like, this is pretty cool. If I kind of put some effects here and there, this could be really spacey. And then I wrote the words to it just sitting there, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. It was just a weird song. It had a change of tempo midway through, and I just really liked it. And I'm sitting there with my son, and I'm thinking about him, and the words just came to me. I just wrote them out. Recorded them, sent it back to him, and he was like, "Yeah, that's pretty cool."
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That happened I had flu. I forget what I had fever. Crazy, I passed out. The whole thing. Yeah, they called 911 on me. It was ridiculous. Oh yeah, I was out cold.
Yep. Called 911 because you're gonna get a hold of him.
Yeah, no, my wife had called.
Yeah, she found him. Out on the floor.
Wow.
But I got the song done first.
Okay.
Yeah, I stuck with it.
Yeah, you're a trooper. Got the song done.
Yeah, it was this real trippy.
That's why it had that real spacey feel. So then I decided that I'm going to go all out, and I just did track on track on track on track, and just doubled and tripled my vocals, and did high register, low register, and did the whole thing, and came up with that really weird but cool song. It was just fun.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
Okay, very
happened
good.
Fast.
Very good.
Yeah.
Where can people find your music?
Well, they can find it on iTunes. We can at ghpband.com. That is our website. We have downloads of our album on the website. We have some samples up there, pictures and whatnot. And then, of course, on iTunes, you can just look for us, Greene Hill Project, and look for the album Twilight's Glimmer.
Okay, very cool. Shows coming up?
Springtime? Yep, that's what we're shooting for.
Okay.
Put the band together and get it ready
proper. When you have specific dates, let us know.
Yeah,
Most
definitely.
So we can put it up on the site. We want to help you guys out any way we can. And I guess finally then we're going to wrap things up here. We really appreciate hanging with you guys.
Yeah,
It's
thanks
been
for having
great being
us.
here.
It's been a lot of fun. Let me just do a little housework here, and then we'll talk about the song 50 and then wrap it up. Just again, want to remind people that we stream 24/7, nothing but the best music from the Philadelphia area musicians and bands, and we do have free apps. All you have to do is go to the respective stores and type in YLN, download it for free, and please take yourlocalnote.com with you everywhere you go. All right, Eric, let's wrap things up with 50. What is this song about?
Lyrically, I had this idea. I had lost my mom a couple years ago, and this idea that she wouldn't see me
Right.
grow up.
Sure.
And I just think, for a lot of people, that kind of, whether it's, a parent or some sort of loved one, like that, we don't always know how long we'll be able to see each other.
It's amazing. I'm fortunate. My parents are still around, but my wife, her dad died when she was 13. So, and it was one of these things where, it was a sudden death. So, you're right. I mean, that happens to more people than because it doesn't happen to you. You don't think about it.
Right.
But now that I'm married to someone who's had it happen to, that does start to just jump out at you. So, I mean, that's a tough time.
Yeah. And musically, though, it was a lot of fun to write just because through the album, I use a lot of different tunings, guitars, open G, and then I love this though because I was dabbling with Jimmy Page's the Rain song. I was just kind of doing some research, and because I know he uses all these open tunings, so it was one of the tunings that he used on Rain song. And so of course I wasn't going to sit down and really work out the song. I don't like to do that. I don't have the attention span for that. So, but I like the sound of it. So then I just started exploring, on this different tuning. I don't even know whether he sustained something open. I don't know. So, and just kind of came across it. Actually, there's a few tracks, I think, on the album where I've used, Second Skin has that tuning on it. I just love the sound of it. It has this real open sound to it.
Right.
And nothing really makes sense on there like normal fingerings, so it's just a matter of trial and error and figuring out what works. So I really
like singing to that sound too, so it works out perfectly.
It pieced together nicely. I had all these 3 different sections, and it kind of all came together nicely.
Nice.
Pushed Ted to do something a little differently vocally on that kind of mid section. So
try that little falsetto.
Okay.
See what you think.
Yeah.
All right, we'll check that out then, and see what we'll give you some feedback, Ted.
Very good.
We'll be nicer than Eric. No.
God, I hope so.
All right, guys, it's been a pleasure hanging out with you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Again, a quick reminder: we do have another live vidcast tomorrow night. Wallfly Feedback will be joining us, and we'll be video streaming live starting at 7:30, and then of course we've got another vidcast on Monday with producer David Ivory. He's coming into the studio, and we'll talk to him about his thoughts on the local music scene here in Philadelphia. Okay, wrapping things up with the guys from Greene Hill Project. Again, thank you so much. Their album is called Twilight's Glimmer, and this song is called 50 on yourlocalnote.com.